two bikes that go head-to-head with each other in 2023 were announced at the EICMA show in Milan within minutes of each other this November, sending much of the European motorcycle press into what was a bit of a frenzy. One came from Suzuki in the form of the GSX 8S, while the other was from Honda with its all-new CB750 Hornet. While the GSX is an all-new model and the Honda revives a name from one of its best-loved bikes of the early 2000s, and both machines feature parallel twin-cylinder 270-degree crank engines. They both also put out around 90 bhp, and as you'll see as we move along, the rest of the specs are eerily similar. But more importantly, both are looking to knock the class-leading Yamaha MT-07 off its perch. But which bike is going to do it? It may be called the CB750 Hornet, but this engine has nothing in common with either the CB750 or the Hornet of old. It's a parallel twin 270-degree crank and produces 90.5 horsepower at 9,500 RPM. Peak torque is 54.8 pound-foot at 7,250 RPM. It's a fuel-injected unit with riding modes, traction control to play with, and is crowned by a neat and easy-to-read TFT dash. You also get a slipper clutch, although the bi-directional quick shifter is only offered on the Honda as an accessory. As mentioned, the Suzuki is also powered by a parallel twin with a 270-degree crank. In the GSX, it produces slightly less power from the Honda, with 84 bhp peaking at 8,500 RPM, and 57 pound-foot of torque, which arrives at 6,800 RPM. As standard, the GSX comes with a 5-inch full-colour TFT dash, 3 riding modes, traction control, and a bi-directional quick shifter. You also get selectable power modes and a slipper clutch with this bike. We can clearly see the engines are very closely matched, although there are some subtle differences. The Suzuki seems to be more grunty, while making slightly less power and has a bit more torque. It does though hit its peak figures slightly lower in the rev range than the Honda does, possibly making it a slightly more easygoing motor for day-to-day riding. The Suzuki engine package does trump the Honda in one area though, and that's in its up and down quick shifter. The frame of the Honda is all new and features a steel diamond construction. Rake and trail are set at 25 degrees and 99mm respectively, with a wheelbase of 1,420mm. The curb weight of the Hornet is claimed at 190 kilograms, and the design of the entire frame and chassis of the Hornet is such that it should translate to a super quick turning and eager bike when out on the road. That is helped along by its sub 200 kilogram curb weight and sporty tyres. The suspension comes from Showa in the form of non-adjustable separate function big piston forks and a Pro-Link rear shock. The only tweaking to be done here is with manual preload adjustment to the rear shock absorber, although for the vast majority of riders it should be just about right as it is. The braking system on the Honda comes from Nissin with radially mounted calipers and 296mm discs at the front. At the rear there is a single piston sliding caliper. The ABS system is a 2-channel setup with no IM control, so no cornering function on this bike. The Suzuki features a frame that is designed around the engine, and it's a tubular design and also runs 25 degrees of rake. Trail is slightly longer though at 104mm, and the wheelbase of the GSX is slightly longer overall at 1,460mm. Suspension for the Suzuki is provided by KYB, again with non-adjustable USD forks and a rear shock absorber that features manual preload adjustment. Braking for this bike is also provided by Nissin with slightly larger 300mm discs and radially mounted calipers at the front, and there's a single sliding caliper at the rear. And as with the Honda, there is no IMU control on the Suzuki, meaning it's a conventional 2-channel ABS system. As with the engines of both bikes, the chassis, albeit different in style and design, are quite similar in terms of spec of kit. The Suzuki is though slightly heavier, giving away around 10 kilograms to the Honda going by claimed curb weights. That added to the bike's fractionally longer, more relaxed geometry should make it a slightly less agile machine on the roads, with marginally better stability than the CB750. With both these bikes going head to head in such a competitive category, probably the most important metric is their price. Both will be trying to hook younger, newer riders into their respective dealerships, and as before, it is all quite closely matched, although there is one winner. The Honda lands in UK dealers in the new year and commands a price tag of £6,999, while the Suzuki, a brand long renowned as the budget biker's friend, have priced the GSX-S at £7,999, a full £1,000 more. Granted, the Suzuki does come with a quick shifter as standard, but that's only a £250 option on the Honda. And the Suzuki is already heavier and slightly less powerful than the new CB750. When the spec sheets are so closely matched on pretty much every front, it might be the seemingly low price of the CB750 Hornet that eventually wins over buyers. So that's our take on these two bikes, but it doesn't really matter what we think because we're not going to be buying either of them. Tell us what you think is the best bike out of these two middleweight nakeds. And if you liked that video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of Visordown's latest videos. For all the latest news, reviews and motorcycle features, get yourself over to Visordown.com.